The thing is that I follow a different non-duality teacher.
Yes.
So it's the terminology that might get us a bit troubled.
Yeah.
So it's like what he calls God. So he says, "Do I exist?" When you ask that question, that thing that becomes apparent, that's what I call God and consciousness.
Yeah, nice.
What's the word you would use?
God,
Presence.
consciousness.
No.
Sorry,
God.
consciousness or the absolute. But I would also use God as well. Like I love the
God,
word God.
okay.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So the question was. So when you love God, like that's something that many of the scriptures say, to love God with all your might. So is it possible to love God and also be unkind to people? Like in the sense, when you have God, there are no people.
Yeah.
There's only God.
It depends what you. It depends what you define as unkind. From my experience, hate goes. But everybody on the character level is going to have, different ideas of what kind and unkind is. Morals and ethics are very different for everybody. Like, is it unkind to buy clothes which have been made in a sweatshop? Like, but that would. And sometimes I do, buy them. I tend to try to not to, but sometimes I do buy them. And so that is unkind, I would say. But somebody else might not think that's unkind. I would say what goes is hate. There is no longer hate. So unkind is too unclear, but hate goes. So when I buy the clothes in the sweatshop, I don't hate the people. Like, when
if I were to give another example, suppose, so you love God and you cheat on your partner, is that still consistent?
It's too hard for me to go into a body, mind and find out what's happening, but I would assume that that's most probably some form of hate, because it most probably comes from contempt and superiority. But it could also be something else, like maybe they cheat, they're in a really abusive relationship and they've been really abused, and it's like somebody shows them a bit of attention, then there is cheating. Or there could be abuse which brings it on. So I can't judge, but most of the time I would say that cheating, when it's not coming from abuse or something like that, then it's maybe a contempt for the other person, like a belief of superiority. So there is some form of hate in there, but I can't guarantee that in every situation.
No. I mean, I don't.
And it's about hate. That's the important part. It's the hate that's important.
Like, does loving God mean the same thing as loving everybody?
It's two different levels. So we're speaking on two different levels. So when I was saying it's the end of hate, I was saying that it's end of hate in the character. So it's the character no longer experiencing hate. But loving God, when you really love God, it's not on the character level.
Yeah.
So when you really love God, you merge with God, and that is the recognition of God in everything. And then what manifests through the character is the end of hate. And that's the only real thing that I could say definitely goes in the character level, is the end of hate, and everything else is, conjecture, is hard to describe. So loving God is on the absolute level. It's not a human thing. It's a merging with that which you are. When there is a you loving God, there is somebody in relationship with God. But when you love God beyond you, there is a merging with that oneness of who you are. There is no separation between you and God. So right now, God is in perception. God is in the room, in the space, in the sound of my voice, in the computer, in the light. It's in everything. And that is love. That is the true love. When the person is separate from that, it then begins to use love to try and become present. Because when you as a human love, then you're not seeking so much for other things that are in time. You're becoming more present. And at some point, that person and God merge into each other.
Like I'm asking you, like if you were to advise me,
Yeah.
if I were to really discover God in all its entirety, would you tell me to love everyone, or would you tell me to just give up the idea of everyone?
I don't think I would advise you on either of those levels, because that can mean so many different things to you. I think my advice would be to notice what's happening now. Where is God now? And God is in this, in perception. So there is the person that wants to know what to do, but that person is appearing in perception. And what is perception? It's the consciousness of things, and the consciousness isn't separate from the things. So you could say it is everything. It is in everything that's appearing.
So you have this insight that it is everything, and it's possible for you also to be unkind to someone, no? Like you won't believe in someone, it's possible.
Yeah, it's possible for me
Even
to be unkind.
Even intentionally, it's possible to be unkind to someone.
Maybe if I'm intentionally being unkind to someone, it comes a bit more from old seeking patterns. Generally, intentionally being unkind to someone is like forms of hate, I suppose. I don't know though, these things are very hard to think about and categorize, but I wouldn't worry so much about this. If your other teacher says it to you, listen to it, but I presume that there's so many different levels to that. So it's like just let it slowly penetrate, but I wouldn't worry too much about understanding it all in one go. I would say put your focus on what's happening right now. And then allow that feeling that's concerned about good and bad and right and wrong. Allow that feeling that's concerned about you not getting it. So maybe there is a feeling of fear of doing something wrong, or the fear of being wrong or getting something wrong. And just allow that in. So stop resisting that feeling and just keep going deeper and deeper into it. And then when you stop resisting it, something else might be perceived. A lot of our intellectual and emotional energy is in rejecting what's being experienced. So just allowing whatever's appearing, whatever emotion that's appearing in that subject, and then deeper and deeper. And as you go deeper and deeper in the actual experience, then something else can be revealed. So do you feel an emotion with this? Does it make you feel uncomfortable, the idea that you're not loving or that you're doing something wrong?
Not really. We just had a conversation on this, and then I saw your notification, so I thought Lisa is there.
Okay. Yeah, it's just more of a broad question. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you for asking it. I enjoyed speaking about that. And I love using the word God.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Shiv.